Okay, let's move on to other news now, because the UN Security Council, which was supposed to be focusing on relief efforts for war-ravaged Ghouta in Syria, has descended instead into threats. The US envoy warned that Washington is ready to strike the Syrian government.
We also warn any nation that is determined to impose its will through chemical attacks and inhuman suffering, most especially the outlaw Syrian regime. The United States remains prepared to act if we must. It is not the path we prefer, but it is a path we have demonstrated we will take.
US and Kurdish forces attack a Syrian government base in the oil-rich region of Deir ez-Zor in Syria. Russian media say an unknown number of private Russian military contractors were killed, possibly up to 200. US officials estimate the death toll at around 100, with up to 300 injured. They were unable to say how many are Russians. Russian media
is the greatest threat to America today. Ambassador Bolton joins us tonight. Great to see you, Ambassador. Glad to be here. So it feels like we're moving kind of in slow motion toward a conflict with Iran and Russia in Syria. Do you think we are?
Well, I think that's one possibility. I think the Iranians have clearly gamed what they plan to do after the defeat of the ISIS territorial caliphate.
Yes.
I think they were thinking of it when our strategists were not thinking of it, and we're now suffering the consequences with Iran literally on Israel's border, flying drones into Israeli airspace. I don't think that's the really most dangerous aspect of the Middle East, though. I still think it's Iran's support for terrorism and its continued effort to get deliverable nuclear weapons.
Right. 2015, you wrote a piece for the New York Times saying we ought to bomb Iran in order to stop their weapons program.
That's not quite what I said. That's what the New York Times headlines said.
Right. Well, that's how I read it anyway.
Unexpected trip to China. This is Kim and President Trump are set to meet soon, although an exact date or location has not been set.
Country that really can make or break Kim Jong-un.
Do you have any clarity after the meeting? Your interpretation. But there really wasn't they met, and I'm not sure that we got a comprehensive readout of their, if anything, really, we didn't get much.
No, two authoritarian regimes with state-owned media are just not going to have much in the way. But what is interesting is noting where the two sides actually reported things differently. So the North Korean press never mentioned the word denuclearization, and there have been some interesting discussions about sort of, it's too much to call it even spin, but just what did each side omit from their public official.
So those mounting tensions between Russia and the U.S. Tonight, the Kremlin announcing the test launch of a new intercontinental ballistic missile called by critics Satan II. Are they risking a new arms race? ABC's chief global affairs correspondent Martha Raddatz joins us now from Washington. And Martha, that new missile test comes as 2 Russian planes are standing by, ready to take off with expelled diplomats back to Moscow.
That's right, Tom. Those 2 Russian government planes landed at Washington's Dulles Airport, a U-Haul being unloaded next to it, just waiting for those 60 diplomats to get on board and get out of the country, all in response to the nerve agent attack on the former Russian spy and his daughter in Britain. And in Moscow, retaliation. It is 60 Americans being sent home. This as Russia released video of the test launch of a powerful new generation of nuclear intercontinental ballistic missiles. But ABC News has confirmed that President Trump warned Vladimir Putin earlier this month in a phone call, if you want to have an arms race, we can do that, but I'll win. Nothing we want to think about, Tom.
Strong words from the president there. All right, Martha, thank you.
On March the 1st, President Putin announced a new generation of weapons vastly superior to anything developed around the world.
У России такое оружие есть.
A hypersonic system, an ICBM with unlimited range, weapons that can fly through dense layers of the atmosphere, a nuclear-powered cruise missile, underwater drones, a unique combat laser complex. That got everyone talking about an arms race and that deadly Russian missile.